All right, welcome back to Our 9 Minutes Enough, our EdTech podcast, where we talk a little bit of EdTech, but a lot of education in general. Absolutely. And so we're here actually on site at Electra Elementary. Yes. I know, it's a traveling show now. And we're joined here by Miss Coker. If you'll tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Good morning. I have been teaching for 13 years. I started in Oklahoma, actually. Okay. And so I did 6 years in there, 6 years in Oklahoma, and then came down here. So.
You did your time in Oklahoma.
No, I did time. I did time, not hard time, but I did time.
Absolutely,
we understand.
And then once I got here to Electra, I started off in 4th grade, and then I went down to 2nd grade, and then back to 4th grade, and then back to 2nd grade, and now I landed here in 5th grade.
Okay,
science.
Right. A little bouncing back and forth. We always understand that in schools.
Go where needed.
Exactly.
So tell us just a little bit about kind of the journey that Electra's been on the last few years.
Yeah, well, we got into school improvement, and then we've gotten out. But even before we were in school improvement, when I came here, we didn't even have a projector.
Yeah.
We were strict textbook and paper, and
this wasn't like the 90s or anything.
This really wasn't that long ago.
2017, I think.
So,
and coming from Oklahoma, it's a whole different world down here in Texas, and so
in a lot of ways.
So I was learning as long as with the kids, I was learning with the kids, and so then a couple of years later, before we were even in school improvement, we ended up getting projectors from that.
Yep.
So from that, we ended up getting in school improvement because I don't. Times changed, but I don't think that we necessarily changed here at Electra.
And I think that brings up a really good point. Like it's not just we teach the same thing every year. It is constantly changing and adapting. Mm-hmm. So we adapt to our students, we adapt to new standards. There's all those things.
There's a science to it because it's not something. It's a science and an art. Like you have to learn as students grow, as the world changes, as students changes, as technology changes. You have to adapt with that for sure.
Yeah. I would do my best to plan math, but throughout the grade levels, we weren't necessarily using the same. We had a set curriculum, but we weren't necessarily sticking to that.
Yeah.
And so, it was just a lot of ad-libbing, I guess you would say, supplementing and kind of, maybe this will work, maybe this will work, maybe this will work.
Yeah.
Well, and it's kind of like you just try all the things. You're just trying to make something work, but it doesn't necessarily make for a very consistent practice when that happens.
Yeah.
So,
especially when you're collaborating as a district, from top down, having that, hey, this is where we are. This is our focus as a district. This is our mindset, and we're all going to rally around that. Is really important for sure. Yeah.
So we had several administration shifts as well. I've been here, like I said, for 8 years, and I've been through. This is my 4th principal.
Yeah,
goodness.
It's hard.
So it was very, very hard, but we stuck through it, and we collaborated. And once we got on the same page, when we got in school improvement, I think it helped getting our Eureka, which is now Bluebonnet, but getting that Eureka. And so then we're all on the same page, and you teach this, they say the word with fidelity, teaching that with fidelity. And through that, we just saw growth in number sense.
Yeah.
Specifically, the kids that I have now, the kids in 6th grade, I piloted Eureka with when they were in 2nd grade.
Right.
Okay.
And so the kids that I have now, they've had Eureka and the number since 1st grade, and I can really tell the growth from them from 2nd grade. This is actually my 3rd year with them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got them in 2nd grade, and then I got them again in 4th grade, and now in 5th grade.
Well, I'm sure that's huge for those kids. To me, that feels kind of like a coach. When you want to teach your philosophy, your standards to the little ones, that way they're familiar with that terminology, moving through it, and even just having you consistently. I'm sure it played a big part in that as well.
Yeah, I'm sure we talked the other day with the kids, and they're sad because I'm not going to be their teacher next year, but I get to move on. You kind of get ready for a new set of kids and to instruct new ones, and so we're ready for that. And I'm excited to see how other kids have number sense that I haven't had before. I can see the ones for me.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's like I say, and that's part of getting that curriculum in place and really putting it in place all the way down so that all the grade levels are getting the same kind of base knowledge and understanding. I think that's a really big piece of this. So.
And it starts, I'm also the instructional coach here. And so I meet with all of the math people and we focus on the same vocabulary and the same, number bonds, and it's not a tape diagram anymore. It's a strip diagram and all So just so that way, as they move on up, then it's all the same kind of language.
Well, then you don't spend as much time repeating things that you thought they had already learned because they this time now everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
So
with vocabulary.
Yes.
And, and really we hit hard, like with Miss Revis, she's our second grade math teacher, and we hit really hard getting ready for testing. So that way, whenever they go into third grade, it's not like the third grade teachers, it's brand new,
yes.
Right.
Towards the end of the year in second grade, we're going to be working with her on, this is what a beginning STAR test looks like. So we're going to make her, like a second grade STAR based on those second grade
just to give them
standards.
that feel.
Yeah.
So, and that brings up kind of another point. Not only has curriculum shifted and the technology shifted, but we're also, online testing is the thing. So is there anything you're doing? You just mentioned kind of showing those second graders to make sure that they're ready for that piece, that online part of it?
So when I first came here, I think it was like the last year of paper testing, and even learning as a teacher, like, we don't do that anymore. We don't read the questions aloud anymore. Like
it's
it does it for them. And so I think it's really in their local assessments that they do.
Right.
We try to frame them as much as we can towards STAR.
Yeah. Well, just so they're aware, so they have that practice, because you don't want them to show up on the day of the test and be like, "What in the world is this?"
Yeah.
There's so much anxiety already on tests. You want to just whatever you can do to limit that is really important.
Yeah.
However small it is.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah.
And anybody can teach a scripted curriculum, but then it takes content knowledge, and it takes teaching knowledge to actually pull in those pieces, like I see with STAR, actually pull in that experience that maybe the curriculum doesn't necessarily have.
Well, I think that brings up a good point as well, because some people see this curriculum as only a scripted one, and there's a lot more to it than just, it's not reading a script.
Right.
It is a planned, consistent approach, but it's not really truly that kind of piece. So you still have to be a really good teacher to do
like you said, anyone can teach that, and that's not true. Any teacher who is qualified and works hard at their craft can do it.
True.
But it definitely is a skill that not everyone has.
That's a good point. That's a good point. True.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I just think that's an important thing to, like you said, you're bringing in what you're still bringing in things to make it work for your kids. So, and I think that's important. So,
like we have from kindergarten through fifth grade, because we don't do it in sixth grade, but K through 5, we all have a set of slides that go with our curriculum, and it's not the slides that come with it. It's the ones that we have made.
Which it goes back to that collaboration piece. It's so important that you're all on the same page, that you're all talking the same language, and you're all planning together.
So when I started this, my partner teacher, my ELA partner teacher, she actually worked for Region 9, and she was actually the person that came in and did lesson study with me, and so that way I learned how to be a coach. And so then the next couple of years, then I went out and I started doing that with those.
And like I say, it goes back to that idea that coaching is such an important part of this, because sometimes you just need that outside voice to help you through those things. So I think that's
around and like, hey, what do you think about this test question? Could we, revamp it to where it's more like STAR, but it hits the same objective? And
So one last real quick question: have you guys been real open with your kids about this process of trying to get out of school improvement? How much have they been aware of it?
Actually, we just had the commissioner's visit.
Yes, which is awesome.
Before, I was like, hey guys, you have been with me. You've been with me since second
the
grade.
rules.
And luckily, I've been with them since second grade, and so I don't want to say trained, but
Right.
they are.
But
They're trained to what is expected in class.
Yeah.
And so, they were nervous whenever all
All
those
those
people
people
start showing in my door, but I was like, just look at me. Don't look at them, or else you're going to get nervous. Just look at me, look at me. And so then after everybody left, the kids did great. They asked questions.
Oh, good.
It was turn and talk time. And so they kind of talked and worked it out. And
Decompressed.
And then once everybody left, then the kids were like,
but I think that's cool for them to. I think that's cool for them to be able to see just the impact of the hard work that they're putting in. So I love
because
that.
to finish it up, it's about the kids. Like it's the work they've done. Absolutely, y'all were the ones who've pushed them and guided them through that. But it's their numbers that showed the progress.
Well, and after every test, we will sit with them and we'll say, hey, look, you made this score on your beginning test, but then you just made this score. Look at how much you have grown.
And I think that's the biggest thing. That growth piece is, and that mindset is just amazing.
Or they'll say, "Well, I didn't make the meet score," and I'm like, "But look, you grew 40 points."
Yep.
Yeah,
I think that's cool. All right. Well, we really appreciate you, Lacey, taking some time just to tell us about your journey with your kids and through this process and just the growth and improvement that Electra has seen.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely. All right.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Bye.